We interrupt this broadcast because Richard's computer is dying. Fuck.
Did you hear that?
Slash.
There it is again.
The remains of the missing teens were found severed into pieces.
It's pretty wacky stuff.
It's like something out of a horror movie.
That's some scary shit, Bob.
Oh, scary shit indeed, Diana.
Well, hello, Mr. Slash. What's up and welcome, y'all, to the Slasha Brotha podcast. I am your host, Richard Cunningham, the brother who gushes for the good, the bad, and the most gory cinematic or streamed horror story. And this week, I am going to be giving you guys a bonus episode. So, I decided to go see X this weekend. I liked it. I definitely thought it was good. I wasn't expecting it to be as funny as it was the second time I saw it. I think it hit me how funny of a movie it was. But the first time I was taking it a bit more seriously just because I was taking notes. So I was just like, ooh, this is a great shot and the cinematography is so great. And oh, Ty West did such a great job and I just love all these moments. The second time though, since my initial audience was not that large. There was only like 6 of us maybe in the theater and we were all spread it out. But the second time I saw it, the audience, there was about 30 of us, so there was just more people and it was more laughs and reactions. So it felt more, I guess, like communal in a sense. So there was a lot more laughter at parts that I didn't laugh at the first time. So, and it was fun to sort of catch like, yeah, this is kind of funny. I do see the humor. Sometimes though, when people would laugh, I would just be like, it's not funny. What's funny to you? But looking back now, I'm just kind of like, oh yeah, that's pretty on the nose, like ironically hilarious. So, X is a film by Ty West. Now, Ty West, instantly, the first thing I remembered him from is he is the first person in the main group to die in the film You're Next. He is the younger sister's boyfriend, and he's like this artsy-fartsy type dude. He's very coffee shop, wears a scarf and everything like that, but he's looking out the window and he gets shot through the head, and then all of a sudden Ty West turns around and stares at the family, and he just has this arrow just coming right out of his head. Ty West, he's appeared in movies. I mean, what director or producer hasn't appeared in their own films or other films or made a cameo? At this point, it's like we're in the world of pretty much everybody's an actor. Even if you're executive producer, you've acted in somebody's whatever, it seems like, especially when you really get up there in the, I guess, Hollywood status of your films are seen. He directed and wrote the second segment in the film VHS. It was a Second Honeymoon.
My segment is about a couple that is on a road trip trying to get some excitement back in their marriage.
He also did the film House of the Devil. Now, everybody is excited about this movie, in a sense, just because Ty West is the director and he did House of the Devil. Those that are horror fans, I should say, not everybody, but those who know Ty West's work, they're going to be excited about this. The funny thing is, and I promise to God this was not a fever dream, I saw House of the Devil accidentally. Okay, first of all, MTV can dispute this as much as they want, but y'all. You guys definitely did this in the middle of the night at like 4 a.m. Years ago. You premiered House of the Devil out of nowhere in the middle of the night on MTV when it's supposed to be music videos. All of a sudden, House of the Devil came on. I shit you not, it was MTV, and it was completely unedited, but at the same time, they still had commercial breaks, but it was just like, what the hell am I watching? This is crazy. And I was like, does MTV know that they're playing this? Because we just went from like a block of, AM MTV to all of a sudden House of the Devil. And I was like, it was cool at first. I love the opening, but it was just like, the more I watched, I was just like, what the hell is happening here? We are getting a really cool scenario with the film X. It was initially, I guess, advertised as Texas Chainsaw meets Boogie Nights, which I think that's awesome. That hasn't been a thing, I don't think, in a horror movie before, or really explored in horror. We've never really gotten, like, porn stars in horror. And the thing is, because horror has always had this element of connecting sex to it, every slasher out there has a sex scene. And if not, it's almost weird if there's not some form of nudity or just sexualization or just straight up full frontal nudity or just skinny dipping. There's just always this element of being sexual, and also it's the thing that in certain cases does get you killed in a lot of these movies is if you're sexual, you die. That's one of the horror movie tropes. However, it's funny how this, of course, breaks rules because there has to be a final girl, and the final girl doesn't always have to survive, but in this case she does. And it's interesting because the final girl is 100% a rule breaker. She's the anti-final girl. Actually that's a good term, I think. She's the anti-final girl. I'm talking about the actor Mia Goth. She is playing Maxine Minx. Maxine Minx wants to be a star.
I need to be famous, Wayne. All the best people are.
Mia Goth has such a distinct look and face, and I really liked her in this role. A lot of parts in this movie had a lot of Midsummer feels, especially because you look at Mia Goth and you think, okay, this is somebody I could see in a very artistic, dramatic horror film. Maxine, she's not necessarily a terrible character to me. Like, she's cool in her own way. I didn't totally take to her just because this movie plays with your expectations because of how it sets up the characters. Because when you're first introduced to Maxine, I'm instantly just thinking this girl's gonna be like the fan favorite character of this movie, but at the same time she's not going to survive. She's gonna be like the girl like second to last to survive. I'm instantly just looking at this because the way it's advertised, you see Jenna Ortega's character is the more innocent kind of, they call her Church Mouse, so through this podcast I'll call her Church Mouse. Her name is Lorraine. I forgot that there is kind of this trope in Friday the 13th sometimes, which has also probably been in other horror films. I just naturally go to Friday the 13th. But for example, in part 4, the character Sarah, she's very virginal and has some final girl energy to her. She's very like, okay, let's protect this girl, but at the end she gets an axe in the chest. She broke one of the rules. She had sex. So it's like, oh, Sarah's gotta go. Well, the thing is, Lorraine, she kind of has like a Sarah. Church Mouse, she ends up becoming this less judgy and condemning the whole idea of doing porn to actually just straight up wanting to participate.
We're just accidentally, incidentally, unintentionally making porn.
But before I get there, I want to talk about the other characters. So we've got Brittany Snow from Pitch Perfect, and she is playing Bobby Lynn. Now, Brittany Snow, she was Donna in Prom Night, the remake. I didn't hate the remake. It could have been better, obviously. Horror movies were just really shitty around that time. I don't know what was going on. There really weren't a lot of good ones. Horror was taking like a deep dive. I say like Final Destination 3 around that era was probably one of the top-notch ones just in gore and just, you know, what it was doing, because everything else was just really tame, or it was just banking off of the teen stars more than necessary.
Jennifer's evil.
I know.
No, I mean, she's actually evil. Not high school evil.
And everything just seemed really dumb. Like, I mean, now there's some good ones, but it just seems like horror really took like kind of like a bad turn. It's almost like it lost its way for a second and it had to come back. Now it's made a good comeback, but you know, those early to mid 2000s horrors just the struggle was real. Bobby Lynn is this slick talking, loudmouth country porn star girl who, and I love her character. Honestly, Bobby Lynn has a lot of heart to me just because One, she talks about porn in the sense of it's just business. I'm just doing this to get somewhere else. They all kind of say that in the initial van ride when we have the group together. They're all just doing it as a means to an end, except for Jackson. He really enjoys it. Jackson is played by Kid Cudi, which I'm excited to see him in another movie too. He's playing the character Jackson Hole, which I'm just like, what kind of porn star name is that? I mean, he's no Dirk Diggler, but at the same time, he's definitely packing like Dirk Diggler. Okay, I'm gonna immediately talk about the fact that there's as many naked women in this movie as there are naked men, and I think it's absolutely awesome. It brought me back to thoughts about the Jason Goes to Hell, the Final Friday, because the director says, like, he wanted to do something also for the ladies. Like, we get more naked men in this, or just, like, quasi-sexual stuff with men, as opposed to just always being women. I was actually surprised Brittany Snow gets naked in this movie. I mean, it's okay to be cool with frontal nudity and everything. Like, frank nudity is great. I mean, Midsummer, you know, props to Jack Rayner for doing what he did and all those women, but at the same time, you just don't expect it from certain actors, and when they finally do it, then all of a sudden it's just like, you know, like it's just kind of like, once you see them naked, it's just kind of like another layer of, okay, like they're not afraid to go there. They don't have those reservations, because sometimes people do, and respect to them if they do. I'm not going to judge anybody's choices on being nude in film.
For the love of God, take off your clothes.
I just feel like, why not? Just because it comes with the territory. And I feel like there's something really freeing about that idea. Maybe it's just because, you know, I'm comfortable with myself. So if I was in a movie where it would require nudity, I really wouldn't be that worried about it. I'd say I'd have more of a Jack Rayner approach. Like, I wouldn't mind full, like, just hanging dong, just because I wouldn't view it as like something scandalous as much as I would just view it as like, this is frank nudity mainly for the purpose of the movie. Even if it was a sex scene, I think I would approach it that way. And so it just depends on your mindset. So not everybody is like that, and I respect it if you're not, but that's just my thoughts on nudity in film, or the choice to be nude or not. And so Brittany gets naked. She has a sex scene with Kid Cudi. We don't even see anything of Kid Cudi until later in the film. We see his butt and everything. Also, we do get a silhouette of his dick later in the film, which I think is hilarious. His name is no Dirk Diggler, but he's clearly Dirk Diggler everywhere else.
Jack says you got a great big.
I would venture to say that was actually Kid Cudi's dick. I believe he's packing.
My body is a movie.
And your penis is the star.
He could easily just come out and be like, nah, man, nah, it was fake, everybody. It's not mine, you know, but I'm giving you props, dude. It's probably yours.
It's my big dick!
Kid Cudi has a sex scene with Brittany Snow, and the guy directing it is Owen Campbell. Now, okay, I was very confused because I swore to God this was Lou Taylor Pucci.
Kunda, Estrada, Montose, Honda.
But then I was just like, wait, this isn't Lou? I thought it was Lou. Where's Lou?
He just left.
Owen Campbell, he is playing RJ, Church Mouse's boyfriend, and he is an asshole. He's like the epitome of Burt Reynolds' character in Boogie Nights on crack.
It is my goal, it is my idea to make a film that the story just sucks them in. And when they spurt out that joy juice, they just gotta sit in it. They can't move until they find out how the story ends.
RJ kind of has also this idea of doing that, but at the same time, he's just way too... he has this grandiose idea about what he's doing, which I think is very pretentious of him. It seems like he almost wants to make a snuff film. I wasn't sure what direction this movie was going in at first, because it really does play with your expectations. When you see the trailer, I'm thinking of kind of like The Visit, like there's some sundowning possibly going on here.
Are you alright?
No.
Also in the movie, there's elements of maybe there's something mystical or about this elderly couple who we see later in the film. Like they might be youth vampires, or they might be using these young people as like the fountain of youth, or there's something like maybe there's a spell or something or a sacrifice, or that's what I was thinking. Like maybe there's a blood sacrifice, like kind of like a maybe Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island thing, like with the cat women, and they're just killing all these people to just stay young forever and keep living and living until the curse is finally broken. But this just really became very straightforward, and it really, similarly to Midsommar, it plays with your ideas of what is magic and what is debatably real or possibly supernatural, because Midsommar doesn't have anything supernatural, but at the same time there are elements like, is there something supernatural here? Are we going to get that at some point? Maybe. I don't know how this is gonna end. And then it ends so bleakly in reality to where we're just like, okay,
That's it? No explosions? No hellfire? No...
It's funny, it becomes Midsommar when you think about the tone and the way they do things, but then I'm going in initially with a Hereditary idea, because Hereditary is very much in the supernatural and very much into ghosts and witches and everything you would expect, and of course the elderly is a mixed element in there, so I guess I just have a Hereditary mindset when it comes to films now, and sometimes I should expect more of a straightforward story than I usually do, but I think it's also just because we had this era in horror where it was just nothing but the supernatural, and everybody was just so obsessed with the supernatural and ghosts and really cheesy shit sometimes. One of the few really spiritual horror films that I would happily go back to anytime, day of the week, is The Conjuring. The Conjuring is utterly fabulous. Other supernatural movies just don't do it for me, like The Woman in Black, or even Mama, which I think is so overhyped. Everyone loves Mama. I think it's trash. I really do. No offense to Jessica Chastain. Then again, Jessica Chastain redeemed herself with it. Praise the Lord, because I just thought Mama was hot garbage.
Oh my goodness.
Listen.
You smell that shit?
The porn movie is called The Farmer's Daughter, by the way.
Farmer's daughter, take one.
And that's why they're going to this farm. The producer of this film, Wayne, who is basically he's Matthew McConaughey in Dazed and Confused.
I love those redheads, man.
He tells the old guy at the door, oh, we spoke a few days ago or a week ago or something like that, and we're just renting this place, no big deal. And the old guy comes up, and they say this at least 3 times in the movie because it takes place in Texas.
The stars at night are big and bright.
Deep in the heart of Texas.
They say, well, if they're on our property, we can shoot them. And I just think that's just so... I know that's like, yeah, that's a thing, but at the same time, it's just so like, man, you. I love this movie because we cut from tensity to lighthearted moments to comedic moments to tense moments, and there's just such a good contrast between everything, and it's just so noticeable and so good and fun. Ty West did a great job with this because there's a moment of tensity between Wayne and Howard because Howard's got a gun to his face. Then we just cut to Bobby and Jackson making out in the van behind Maxine, and it's a funny shot because they're just so into their own thing, and Church Mouse, she can't stop staring at everybody. She's working the sound for her boyfriend. Also, she didn't really know what this project was going into it, which kind of also makes RJ more of an asshole now that I think about it.
Me and him, we really think about whooping his ass.
There's this great shot of the group walking through the field and just crossing, and it's just this really nice long shot, but then Howard stops, and Wayne is, like, about to tap him on the shoulder, but then Howard's like, I'm fine. And it's just meant to be a jump scare. There are a lot of really stupid jump scares that didn't totally land in this movie, like when Mia Goth's character, Maxine, she's running through the field after she's escaped the house, and then all of a sudden bumps into Wayne, and there's this, like, tense, like... At the same time, it's also just like, we knew she was going to run into somebody. Church Mouse, she is asking the group, well, how can you be in love with somebody or be with somebody but be with other people? Because Jackson and Bobby are clearly a thing.
Everybody likes sex. It's a gas.
We're just not afraid to admit it. Queer, straight, black, white. It's all disco.
He even has a moment with Bobby after they finish their scene. One, he's looking out the window, like, flexing, like, yeah, like, he's doing, like, a Jody and Baby Boy. Like, he's just, like, he feels all good about himself. And I thought that was very funny. And and Bobby, she's just like, don't get cocky over here, okay, Meister, because I could have easily faked it.
Yes! Oh! Oh! Oh!
I'll have what she's having.
Oh, Brittany Snow. She had so many great one-liners in this film. She responds to Jackson's I love you with, bless your heart. And, oh, she's so good. Her country accent just killed me. She's got, like, a Marilyn Monroe hairstyle, but she has this Dolly Parton vibe to her, which is just so fun.
Say, I am sure of myself as a person. I'm sure of my talent.
I love the opening with Bobby because she's just screaming at Wayne. She says, Wayne, if I'm going to be having sex for you, I need my cigarettes. And he tosses a pack of cigarettes at her, but they're not the ones she wants. And she has, I just love how she just says this. She says, you know I only smoke old golds. Like, she just sounds like an old southern ass woman. And I absolutely love it. Her and Kid Cudi have this really fantastic moment in the movie. They perform a song together. He's on guitar and Brittany is singing. I forgot Brittany was in Pitch Perfect, so I wasn't expecting her to just come out and sing. And I was just like, damn, like, Brittany got pipes. But then I realized midway through the song, oh shit, yeah, Pitch Perfect. Okay, I forgot about that movie. I didn't really pay attention to any of the Pitch Perfect movies, so I'm not going to go there. There's so many nods about youth. I mean, there's themes of sex, of course, but there's just so many nods of youth growing old, being young, the ability to do certain things, the disability of not being able to do certain things, and just yearning for the past and dealing with the fact that we all are going to have to get old. We're all going to have to cross over and die and go on to the next phase of life. I personally don't believe that death is just it and it's just like this black pile of shit. There's more, you know, spirits don't just like go away, you know. I'm not gonna sit here and preach, but it's just not black at the end. I feel like that's really stupid. They have this whole song, and it is very beautiful. You see everybody in the living room and how they're just sort of vibing, and it's a very sweet moment. But there's also this really interesting Brian De Palma split screen that kind of goes in and out, back and forth, but it's just between the elderly woman who is Howard's wife, Pearl, and she is doing her routine, but Pearl is very frail and her skin is just, you know, just very old, like, it's just, she's just really old. I don't know how to describe it. It's just, she's just old, but it's a very exaggerated old, however, for the characters and the fact that it's Texas, and it's got like a Texas Chainsaw vibe. It makes sense that they look like this, but it just kind of gives me like a Ma and Pa feel from that one Tales of the Crypt episode, Death of Some Salesman, with Ed Begley Jr. and Tim Curry. Tim Curry is playing multiple characters in that episode, but he's playing this murderous bumpkin family. Every character he's playing, because he's playing the dad, the mother, and the daughter, they just look all craggly and gross, and you just look at them like, but they're functioning normally, but still they just have this craggly, gross look to them, and this gruff like, Ma, Pa.
Ain't nobody but known his whole ugly goddamn life ever wanted her.
I'd like her to be the judge of that.
Earlier, I forgot to mention also, Pearl has a moment with Maxine. So Maxine goes to the house, and this is after Pearl was spying on her, because Maxine goes skinny dipping by the lake, and when she discovers the lake, there is this great shot. There's this great zoom out of her at the dock, and you just see how vast this lake is and the trees. It is just such a great zoom out. Like, well done. There are gators in this lake, and Maxine is swimming out, and we just see this gator it's like Jaws right now, and that whole moment was tense because I was just like, oh snap, this is another element that I didn't think would be here.
Surprise!
Because when I think gators, I think New Orleans. I don't think Texas. And so I just wasn't expecting to see gators just pop out. I know they're in Texas. Like, you know, there are a lot of places where gators habitate. I wasn't expecting a lake initially either. That also brought me back to the Friday the 13th vibe. So there's just a lot of different elements in here. But long story short, this gator is after Maxine. Maxine gets out in time, but it's still a very tense moment because you just see her swimming, and this fake gator is just like, oh my god. It's just right behind her, and it looks so big in one shot. It actually almost reminded me of Crocodile or Lake Placid, because I was just looking, I was like, why is this gator so large all of a sudden?
That's a huge bitch!
Also, one thing to note about Maxine, she is a cokehead. Like, she is a coke fiend. Every 5 minutes this girl is doing coke. Even Wayne is like, be careful with that shit, because there is such a thing as having too much of a good thing.
Clean it up, Coke.
She is straight up Amber Waves vibes for me. Just every second she's got some coke. Harold's wife is missing. She goes off. But the thing is, I'm instantly getting like a sundowning type thing from her. But it turns out this couple is just f***ing crazy, and they just murder people. Like, they're pretending to be crazy. I kind of like this because we in the visit we get that the old people are actually crazy. This couple is crazy just in the sense of they're actually killing people, but they're not mental patients, and there's no grand thing here. Like, they're not killing people for the fountain of youth. There's no supernatural. There's just, they hate young people.
Don't like the way you talk. Don't like the way you walk. Don't like your haircut.
Like, they're jealous of even Wayne, who's 42. But the thing is, Wayne is jacked. So Wayne comes out later in the evening wearing white man panties.
For Christ's sakes, will you cover yourself?
And this is after RJ is murdered. So RJ is the first murdered in the group. RJ, one, he's a bitch to Church Mouse, because after the song, instantly the first thing Church Mouse says right after the song finishes,
I want to be in the movie.
Well, you can't. The story can't just change midway through.
It's such an interesting contrast to see her be in Scream, playing Tara, and then be in this and playing Church Mouse.
It's Billy Loomis. It's Billy Loomis, and he was Sydney's boyfriend, and he was played by Luke Wilson, and I got you, asshole.
We understand that she appreciated watching the scene between Maxine and Jackson, because as she's holding her boom, she's just looking down like,
That's hot. That's hot.
Spicy.
Here goes RJ's bitch ass.
No, 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 no. Hell no.
No!
RJ is then all of a sudden flips the script and he's just like, you're my girlfriend, you're not gonna be in my porn film, I'm not changing it, it's just not done. He says that, he's like, it's just not done.
Have an aneurysm, why don't you?
Jenna just straight up is like, okay, they're not coming for the shots and the cinematography, they're coming to see tits, ass, and a big dick.
This is a giant.
RJ says, Lorraine is not like the others. Lorraine is a good girl, and Lorraine is not going to do... Like, it's just like, dude, shut up. She's her own woman. She can do whatever the hell she wants. She's grown. Like, she's not yours. She's not your possession. One, you didn't even tell her that this was a porn shoot to begin with from the looks of it, so you need to take what you're getting right now, okay?
Give me a kiss.
Give me a 20.
You should be happy that she wants to help you out. This is actually helping him, but he gets mad because he's like, Wayne, you just want more sex in the movie? It's like, it's a fucking porn film, bro. Like, do you not know where you're working? Do you not know what you signed up for?
I kind of misunderstood the assignment.
Who are you, dude? Like, you probably just got out of film school. Like, calm yourself.
You should assume what you signed up for. Like, let's not be stupid.
But RJ has to deal with it because right when they get back into the cabin, Church Mouse is already ready to go. She is dolled up, got her hair curled a little bit. Lorraine, she gets on top of Kid Cudi, and we see through the camera lens, she just opens up his towel. We don't see his dick or anything right then and there. Like, it cuts away pretty quickly. We also see that she's wearing her Sunday panties, which I thought was funny. I thought that was... And it's funny, nobody laughed at that. I thought that was one of the funniest things because it was just so subtle and just so, like, really Sunday. You know? I thought that was cute. But nobody laughed. I thought it was funny. It was kind of like Tori Spelling in Scary Movie 2 when the ghost takes off the cover and she's wearing the wrong day of panties. Either she's wearing the wrong day of panties or she just didn't change her panties and they're trying to insinuate she's a nasty bitch. Either way, whatever. I thought it was hilarious. RJ, his bitch ass is in the shower crying. Oh my god, like, grow up. Get some dignity, man. Like, understand the business you're in.
So for those of you naughty boys expecting to see a raunchy porn video, you might as well turn this off now.
We see him naked. We don't see a whole lot. I mean, he just crouches down, but still, he's naked. Like, there's no disguising that. He's naked. And like I said, I just love the fact that this movie had just as many naked women or half-dressed women as it does men. The men were sexualized just as much as the women. I think that's 100% cool and fair. We don't get enough of that. We never used to get a lot of that in the 80s especially, and now I hope more horror movies become this way.
Now drop them drawers, Denzel.
I mean, why not?
Show me that ass!
After RJ is finished in the shower, he decides to be a bigger asshole and he gets in the van and just thinks he's gonna leave everybody. Which, okay, like, you're not just leaving your girlfriend there. Wayne also doesn't have a way to get home. Like, the rest of them don't have a way to get home. You're not just affecting them, you're affecting everybody. But RJ, he is trying to get out of there, and Don't Fear the Reaper is playing by Blue Oyster Cult, and he almost hits Pearl. He gets out, and we see this in the trailer too, that she stabs him in the neck. However, we get more of this stab in the neck. Pearl, she stabs this dude in the neck like 30 times, and while she's doing it, we hear more of Don't Fear the Reaper, and blood is spraying all over the headlights, and it casts her in red. This was really cool. I just love intense color in horror, like when it flashes like that. Once again, I go back to Suspiria. I just think it's really cool when this is done, and how they did it was really fun for me, just because you actually see the blood spraying, so that was cool. Pearl's weird ass, she decides to start dancing like she's doing ballet. That also got a laugh in theaters. At first, I didn't laugh just because I was like, this is very good. This is a great artistic shot. And she's still cast in red, so it's just very beautifully shot. Wayne, he gets a pitchfork to the eyes. He enters the barn, and he's looking for RJ because he doesn't know he's been stabbed to death. And he steps on a nail that is, like, through a board. It's a good shot because there's blood spraying everywhere. And he's got dirty drawers, and he's walking to the door, but Pearl, she's on the other side, and she moves this block that she's poked holes through this door before. This is nothing new for her. I saw this coming. This was too obvious for me of a death, but Wayne looks through the holes, and then he just gets the pitchforks through the eyes. Pearl comes into the barn later, and she just starts to bury him, and it's just like, okay, that's all we get of Wayne. Kid Cudi, I hated his death. Okay. And the only reason I hate his death is because this was, and I'm not gonna bitch about it to Ty West or bitch about Ty West like that, but I just felt like we could have given Jackson something better than him getting shot close range.
Wrong road. Wrong road.
Really? Did we have to do that? I would have actually liked it if he got eaten by gators, because Howard does try and psych him out in the movie, and he drops his flashlight into the water where we saw one of the alligators was hiding. So you would naturally think, like, okay, a gator's gonna come up and snatch him, you know, kind of like a Samuel L. Jackson thing. That would have been fun, but Howard just shoots him close range, and that's it. I just didn't totally find it tasteful to do that. But, I mean, these movies are meant to have an effect on you either way. You're meant to get some sort of reaction. And that particular reaction to his death, I just didn't like it. Do something else. That's too much of a reality for a lot of people. I just would have gone in a different direction. I also thought that Jackson and Howard's relationship was very interesting because Howard mentions that he was in the military, and he immediately asks Wayne if he was in the military, but he doesn't talk to Jackson that much at first. And I'm not going to instantly call it racism, but I just felt that was a little bit prejudiced to just assume, like, oh, this guy would serve, but this guy wouldn't, because Wayne admits, oh, I got flat feet. Jackson admits he's done 2 tours in the Marines, and he's damn proud of it. He's the only one that's actually confident about the fact that he's doing porn. He's just very like, I was born to do this. He's also never disrespectful to Howard, which I thought was very interesting too, and just said a lot about his character, which also it pissed me off even more the way he died, because he's so willing to help Howard when Howard's like, my wife is missing, I can't find her, even though it's a trap to lure him to kill him. And I even wrote in my notes, Jackson should not trust this situation at all. He's still just like, let me get my skivvies, I'll help you, old man. He has a very noble thing about him, which is just so shocking, that just the way Howard just shoots him, because there's just no respect there, like, ever. There's just no, like, this is also somebody who served, so I should just have as much respect for them as, you know, I would want them to have for me. There's still just this, you're beneath me in some way. I didn't like it. So that's one thing I feel about Howard as a character. But then again, fuck Howard.
I hope you die.
Old guy Howard, he traps Church Mouse in his basement. And the crazy thing is, every excuse they make is because they're old, and Howard actually does make it seem believable for the most part, with this crew anyway. She just goes down, fetches the light, and that's it. But then she goes up to the door, realizes she's locked in, and freaks out. Then we get this amazing shot of her screaming that we saw in the trailer. And it turns out that there's a dead body down there, and it's this guy. We get more frank nudity. It's a dead body, but this guy's got his pants down, dick out, and he's just hanging from the ceiling, dead, been stabbed to death, I'm sure. This is also the same body that the two sheriffs at the opening see, because this movie opens at the end of everything. It's the crime scene, and there's nobody to be found, breathing, that is. I'm thinking it's going to be more than just some naked guy hanging with his pants down. I was expecting some Silence of the Lamb shit, like the cop hanging on the bars, and he's like made to look like an angel or some shit. It was not even that deep. Church Mouse, she tries to escape because she manages to find a hatchet in the basement, but as she hacks at the door, and it is kind of like a nice reference to The Shining, the way she cracks the door with the hatchet. It is a nice little reference. And then the old guy smashes her hand with, I guess, a hammer or something, and it was brutal. Like, he does it multiple times, and the crazy thing is, she can't even move her hand out of the way for a second, and she's just screaming, and he just points the gun in her face through the door. He's like, I said get back down there!
Layla, get back in your cell. Don't make me get the hose.
Maxine is in bed. Pearl starts fondling her in her sleep. She's got blood on her hands too, so she's wiping it on Maxine. Maxine is just not even moving or thinking anything of it until she turns over and sees Pearl, because Pearl is just like fondling Maxine a little bit, but she's probably also like touching herself. Maxine, she wakes up and freaks out. Bobby then wakes up, and we get the shot of Bobby rushing out of her bedroom, but then we just see naked Pearl coming down the hallway, and Bobby's just like, what the f***? Maxine, she's all extra about it too. Like, she has to do a line of coke all of a sudden just to process this. And she's also scrubbing her body later, like just taking her sweet f***ing time while everybody's getting murdered. And like I said, Maxine, she's an anti-final girl. Bobby, she finds old lady Pearl naked by the dock, and Bobby is cool about it at first. She's just like, oh my god, like, let me help you, ma'am. And she says, it's okay, ma'am, I understand. My Nana gets confused too. I know all about it. And I instantly thought, okay, sundowning. Okay, we get it. We don't have to specifically say it, but we know what it is. Pearl smacks her in the face, just out of nowhere. Like, just straight up, just like just pops her. And I was just like, okay, shit. And then Brittany starts talking smack to the old lady, and she says, okay, well, you're just mad that you wasted your life, and you shouldn't be hating on me. And she says, listen here, you mean old nasty. And then Pearl pushes her into the lake, and Bobby gets eaten by gators, and Pearl then just finishes her sentence. She's just like, bitch. This is why I kept on thinking about this whole Fountain of Youth thing, and if something supernatural is going to come up, because every second it's always just like, they're not good enough, or this person's not good enough. She talks about Church Mouse and saying she had something at first, but now it's gone. I don't want it anymore.
I don't want your life.
And I'm thinking like, okay, is it tied to innocence or something? Like, she can only de-age herself if she gets pure, like, virgin blood, or just blood from girls who have this innocent thing about them.
Me? Virgin? We work with what we have.
They hate youth. They just hate young people. Like, they're just literally like, F these kids.
Punished for what? For being young?
I just kept expecting more. I was just like, where is the spell gonna come out? Pearl's issue is also that she's a nympho.
I love my mom, my dad, and my dildo.
She is always trying to seduce Howard. I've probably said Howard and Harold multiple times. I'm probably gonna laugh while editing this podcast. But Howard, old guy, old timer. is just, he can't take it because he's got like a heart thing, and every time she's like, okay, let's have sex, he says, oh, I don't think my heart can take it. I was expecting the heart thing to pan out sooner. I was thinking while this couple is having sex that his heart would give out and he'd be right. They have sex. It's an awkward scene. It's awkward. It's funny. It's like, who wants to see two... Well, then again, I take that back. Before I even say that statement, I take that back because I don't want to be ageist. Just like this movie has just as many naked men as it does women, it goes as far enough to have a sex scene, not with a hot young couple, but with an elderly couple. I kind of respect it. The beds are rocking, Maxine came a-knocking, and Maxine is trying to escape. She manages to, though, pretty stealthily. She slides out and gets out in time. At first I was like, they're going to get this girl, because I just wasn't expecting Maxine to survive. I really wasn't. I was not expecting her to ultimately be the final girl. But Maxine makes it to the house. She frees Church Mouse. Church Mouse, however, and this is what again, diverting expectations. Church Mouse had this whole 180, right? She is, oh, it's smut. Why are you doing this, RJ? Next thing you know, a beautiful ballad by Brittany Snow, and she's like, I want to be in the porno. Then when she gets saved by Maxine, she is such an asshole. She doesn't even say thank you. Maxine is telling her to keep her voice down, otherwise they'll get caught. And Church Mouse is just like, I hate you all. I never wanted to come here. These people are crazy and you all disgust me. And it's just like, girl, you literally just blew Kid Cudi like hours ago. Who are you to judge anybody at this point?
You are a hypocrite.
What?
You everyone.
Oh, really?
And you pretend that you don't. I don't care if you're the biggest whore in Macy's window.
And then Church Mouse runs out of the house and gets shot in the face. Okay. I instantly just would pick Jenna Ortega to be the final girl in any horror movie. That's what she's brimming with final girl energy to me. And so when she gets shot, I'm not even thinking we're going to see that much. We see her body on the ground bloodied, but we actually get a close-up of her freaking face. Like, she got her face mangled. It was very Jigsaw and how Laura Vandervoort gets her face blown off at the end. And it was just like, oh shit, you know? It was kind of like that. It had that effect because you're thinking she's the final girl too. Like, she's brimming with final girl energy until you realize she's a villain, and then you're like, oh god, we gotta get rid of this chick. And then she gets her face blown off because she's selfish. This was like that, you know? This was a very, I would say I would definitely compare those two as parallels. The crazy thing that happens, and this whole scene is wild. This scene is funny as hell. The old guy, he just dies instantly. Like, his heart just stops because they're bringing in Church Mouse's body after her face has been blown off, and we see Jenna Ortega's mangled face. I thought it was great, and she has like a death spasm, and all of a sudden that's just enough to stop Howard's heart. He just dies right there. Like, it's just, old man's done. Like, just... The old lady, she's like, oh my god, Howard, somebody help. But really it's like, woman, who in the hell is gonna help you? Who would want to help you? And Maxine pops out and with the gun, and she's like, give me the keys.
Yes.
Yes, queen.
She's telling the old woman, you know, how sick and disgusting she is. You know, she's like, you're a psycho murdering nymphomaniac, and I'm a star. That is Maxine's whole thing from, and also she has this line she continuously says, I will not accept the life I do not deserve. And so she's just very gung-ho, like, I'm gonna get what I want.
Cheers.
The old lady is sitting there like, no, you're a whore. You're nothing but a dirty whore, and I hate you. You're just like me. Maxine is just ready to shoot this woman. However, the gun is not loaded. It's crazy. I'm thinking Maxine's about to die right here, and this is what it is. It's just they get away with it, or the old lady at least gets away with it, because she's been doing all the killing at this point. She gets the shotgun, and this is what I'm talking about. This is awesome and wild and hilarious. This got a laugh out of me the first time, a laugh out of me the second time. The theater was dying. This lady tries to shoot Maxine with the shotgun, but ends up blowing her ass to Kingdom Come outside the front door to the ground. You just see this old lady fly out of her house because of the back blast. It was so funny and good. It's so... oh my gosh. She even says to Maxine, "Oh, my hip." It's just so... oh my god. It was great. Then Maxine gets into the couple's truck, and she does exactly what I'm hoping she does. Backs over this old lady's head. It's just like, yes, because this woman. Maxine drives off into the night, does another hit of coke, because that's what Maxine does. She does coke. Maxine, if anything in this movie, she's going to get naked and she's going to do coke. And she's going to say she's a f***ing star. And so Maxine drives off, and she doesn't say she's a f***ing star at the end. She has a great line. She says, "Praise the f***ing Lord." And I love it. And we find out it's also very ironic that she says this, because we have this televangelist preacher on the screen every time there's a TV on, even in the old couple's house. Same televangelist. And he is just spewing and spewing and spewing and spewing.
Let God take you through some loneliness. Let God take you through the wilderness.
He then reveals that his daughter has also been taken by the spirit of Satan and now coerced with the devil and all this other stuff. And it turns out his daughter is Maxine.
Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
So every time she has seen this guy on TV, she's watching her dad and she's just like, ugh. And she's very, also, she has a lot of nods to just the Christian faith, or just, you know, puritanical ideas on sex. So I think that's great. That's her dad. I wasn't expecting that. And at the end, we get this great ending with the sheriff after they get out of the basement. And they're just, of course, going through the whole crime scene. The sheriff is still just baffled, like, what the f*** happened here? And he even gets asked that, and the sheriff is just like, oh, f*** should I know? And then they come out with the camera that RJ was using to film all the porno this entire time. And he asks, well, Sheriff, what do you think is on this thing? And the sheriff just says,
I see one goddamn up horror picture.
Also, I will say this movie does have a confirmed sequel. If you stay long enough at the end of the credits, you find out that we're going to get a backstory on Pearl, the old crazy lady, and what the ever is going on with her. And so we're going back in time, and Mia Goth is returning, and I guess she's going to play Pearl. So this is going to be a franchise, I'm assuming, or a series at least. So good for Ty West. I can't wait to see what he does with Pearl. That'll be interesting, because it looks like some weird shit is going on here. So let's figure it out. Maybe there is something supernatural, or just like a maybe he's doing like a Fear Street thing, and that's kind of cool. I like that idea of Ty West having his own little Fear Street kind of thing going. So cool. But X was a good one. I'm glad I got to see it in theaters. I would definitely give X 4 slashes. I give it 4 slashes because I really like Ty West, and just the fact of what he's done in the past, but also what he's doing in the present. I definitely think that X is a good one, for sure. It's definitely very Texas Chainsaw Massacre, more Texas Chainsaw Massacre than Boogie Nights, and it's just very more. It's a lot more artistic in its shots than I would say. It's more of an artistic film than you would think. I mean, yeah, it's a straightforward slasher and everything, but I just mean the way it's produced is really great, and just the contrasts are so good, not just in the shots or the colors, but the dialogue contrasts a lot. There's a lot of talk about youth and just sexual freedom, and a lot of these conversations are conversations that we still have today. It felt very fresh, even though it's meant to be in the late 70s. That is where I'm going to end this. And if you would like to follow me on social media, you can find me at Slasha Brotha on Instagram. You can follow me at my personal, Martian Prince Jr., and also check out my art page at Richard's Kill a Hand. And until it is time to slay another day, I'll see you guys in the next one.